This is a game called Conducted Story. So these 6 players are going to tell one story together, one person talking at a time. And I get to decide who is talking and when. So the topic that we are going to get for the story is we're going to get a name of a children's story that doesn't exist. So does anybody have a name of a children's story that does not exist? Lori.
The Tiny Dragon of Cumberland.
The Tiny Dragon of Cumberland. And this is a good game where you can teach kids story structure and beginning, middle, and end of story. So we're going to start in chapter 1 of the
Tiny Dragon of Cumberland.
The Tiny Dragon of Cumberland. And we are going to start with Lizzie.
The Tiny Dragon of Cumberland woke up on a cold October morning. Her name was Edna.
Perfect. Stop. I'm going to go to John.
Edna, upon opening her eyes and getting the dragon goobies out of her eyes that normally accumulate after a restful night of dragon sleep, stretched her wings up as far as she could from the farthest left point of her residence.
Stop. Simon.
To the farthest right point of her, and she said, "Today's the day I get a dragon boyfriend."
Perfect. Right there. So that's the first chapter. So we know in stories sometimes we have more than one character. So we are going to introduce another character in chapter 2, which is going to start with Christy.
Along her way in the forest, Edna met a very handsome yet equally tiny dragon named Fred.
Perfect. Stop. Mark.
Fred was on his way to rob the gnomes of all of their treasure, because that's kind of what dragons do. He really wanted to go get some more gold, but he was so enchanted by the tiniest dragon that he decided that he would rather have dinner.
Perfect. Stop. Now we're in chapter 2. We also know in then stories, we have problems that arise that we have to get over. So the next chapter, chapter 3, is going to be called The Big Problem, starting with Lori.
Got together and were talking about robbing the trolls of their treasure.
Perfect. Stop. Christy.
And Edna was having an ethical and moral dilemma about robbing other creatures and gnomes and trolls.
Stop. John.
But Fred assuaged Edna's guilt and kind of moral shortcomings, qualms, what have you, by offering to buy her the most expensive dessert item they had on the menu. It was a 3-tier layered sundae garnished with the finest Cumberland seeds, sweet seeds that you could buy. On top of the sweet seeds, as kind of a final touch, was a cherry that could only be found at the
Perfect. Stop. Lizzie.
At the tallest tree in Cumberland.
Perfect. Stop. Okay, so now we have our problem. She's trying to be persuaded to do something she doesn't think she should do. So chapter 4 is the resolution. How does this story end? Mark.
That's when Edna realized somebody trying to persuade her to do something that she didn't want to do just with candy and sweets, that person wasn't somebody she wanted to be with. So she blew fire at him.
Perfect. Stop. Christy.
She blew fire at him, all right, and it left a trail of smoke going for miles and miles, which was a lot coming out of a little dragon like Edna. But this is what she had to do, stand up for herself.
Perfect. Stop. And Simon is going to tell us the moral of the story.
No matter how much you think you are alone, you don't need anybody else to build up your self-esteem. Edna thought, I can do what I want. I don't need anybody to tell me what to do, and I am great.
Beautiful. And that's how you play the game.